Choosing the right technology feels hard because there's hundreds of options, very little time, and even less data to make that choice confidently. If you've ever had to make that call, you know how risky it feels to put down hundreds and thousands of dollars when the only data you have is really marketing material from the vendors. So here's how Azura helps owners, project developers, and EPCs pick the right technology that they can stand by and justify to their stakeholders. Starts with one thing, and that's defining what success looks like for your project. Because otherwise, if we don't have that criteria, it's really hard to reliably narrow down your options. For example, one client will say, I don't want this to be a science project. And another client will say, I want to know what's at the forefront of technology today. Obviously, we would recommend a different thing from one client to another, depending on their perception of risk and innovation. So here's a test scenario for you to check if you know your success criteria. If I were to give you two options, option one is simple technology, high emissions. Option two is complex technology, low emissions, and you have similar costs. If the answer is not obvious to you, then it might be a sign that you should refine your success criteria just a little bit further, and we have a different process for that. Regardless of your success criteria, Azura takes the time to research and keep up to date with all kinds of technology that's relevant to biogas and industrial wastewater. Then we bundle up all of the technology that seems like it would fit your specific project. The advantage of having a long list is that it proves that you've done your due diligence by looking at all kinds of options and that you're making an informed decision. Then Azura filters that long list into a medium list using your success criteria that we outlined at the beginning of the process. The last time we did this, we were working with a food and beverage producer, and we started with 59 different types of wastewater treatment options and narrowed it down to 9. For the remaining 9, the Azura team takes the time to research and debate what kind of risks that technology could impose on the business. Performance is important, but something people don't think about too much is what is this equipment or the system's tolerance to mistakes upstream? No production facility is perfect, so say one day there was a mechanical issue up the stream, and for whatever reason that mechanical issue turned out making the waste stream more concentrated, just very different characteristics than that was originally designed. How would those situations impact the technology that we have? And asking these kinds of questions tells you how resilient and robust your system will be. There's also commercial risk. For example, is the equipment that we're buying from overseas. And so if it's overseas and my equipment is breaking down or needs troubleshooting, will my parts take 6 months to get to my facility? Something outside of technical risk is public perception. So some clients, it might be important, but their facility looks really polished, beautiful. And that's because they need to film marketing materials, or they need to tour the public, or regulators. When the system looks really polished, it can give some sort of trust to stakeholders or whoever's looking at this facility. So when perception is important, we might recommend a process that looks a little bit more sophisticated. But of course, the more sophisticated equipment means you need staff that's able to handle that complexity. Do you have access to staff that have that kind of skill? These are the kinds of questions that Azura tries to answer, along with the pros and cons of each equipment in the medium list. Then Azura will host a workshop where we present our findings and work with the client to narrow down that list of 9 or so in the medium list into our top 3. All of the options in the medium list will hit technical requirements, and so the workshop is more about balancing which ones would fit the business case. So out of the workshop, we should have our top 3 options and be able to get vendor quotes for each of them. In the medium list, we try to aim for more of our relative pricing. So for example, option 1 is in the millions of dollars and option 2 is more like $200,000-ish dollars. It's more cost efficient and time efficient for us to narrow down to the top 3 before really going out and getting vendor quotes. Once we have your high-level vendor quotes for your top 3 options, Azura will host a short meeting to discuss and help you finalize your selection. Our goal by the end of this process is that we've selected the best available technology that meets your success criteria, and you have the evidence to justify your selection to any stakeholders. Because our clients actively participate in our workshop, they're able to debate the pros and cons themselves because they made the decision with us. This process is really helpful if you're overwhelmed by the hundreds of options that you have, or you just don't have time to sort through all of these options, or maybe you don't have the technical expertise to narrow down, and be confident with your choice. At the end of this process, you'll have a written report that summarizes your success criteria, the equipment we looked at, why we chose the equipment that we did, and a plan for the next steps of the project. If you think this is something that would be useful for you, contact Azura and we'll be happy to help you choose your best available technology.